music producers been arrested and charged with streaming fraud for creating thousands of AI generated songs. And I'm like,
I didn't know anybody that actually went to jail, but I knew that it was threatened, like there were severe penalties. So break down what has happened.
When I first read this article, I mean, and I've seen the titles everywhere of these articles, it says music producers been arrested and charged with streaming fraud for creating thousands of AI generated songs. And I'm like, didn't we read within the last year an article about a European DJ that did the same thing and didn't get arrested? So it kind of threw me off. And then I looked up Spotify's policies on AI generated music, and they don't ban. All they say is, any kind of music that doesn't violate copyright law is fine. So AI music isn't illegal. There are some initiatives, one in the EU that has been actually voted on. They're trying to create a new legal framework for music streaming, similar, I guess, to what YouTube is doing, where you have to disclose whether or not your content is AI generated, which I think is fine. Their concern is impersonation, deepfakes, all that. But I think people deserve to know, especially since it's going to get more and more realistic sounding. But regardless, I needed to go straight to the actual criminal case to get information. So my article comes from justice.gov. And this headline is different from what the music websites have been posting. North Carolina musician charged with music streaming fraud aided by artificial intelligence. And it's the first criminal case involving artificially inflated music streaming, because we've heard of, we talked to Chad Focus about what he's doing. Yeah, he went to federal prison, but that was something else. It feels like a similar case, but different laws. So we're breaking new ground on sending people to prison over music streaming, which I don't recall happening often before the streaming era. I just didn't. Maybe it was happening. We just didn't know because not as many people cared. But I feel like the streaming era offers so many more opportunities for not just fraud, but for people going to prison.
I think people were going for the CDs. Some people, I heard about some busts in Atlanta back in the day from mixtapes, some big bust.
Oh, but, DJ Drama's house got raided.
Yeah, and they would threaten it around the time with LimeWire, because I remember when I was in college and they would threaten severe penalties. I'm not sure if it was jail, but it was huge financial penalties if you got caught downloading copyrighted material. But everybody used LimeWire in the day to get those remixes and all that music. But so yeah, I didn't know anybody that actually went to jail, but I knew that it was threatened, there were severe penalties if you were caught somehow.
Yeah, well, this is serious. So U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said, that's your name, twin. He spells his name differently, though, damn. As alleged, Michael Smith fraudulently streamed songs created with artificial intelligence billions of times in order to steal royalties. Through his brazen fraud scheme, Smith stole millions in royalties that should have been paid to musicians, songwriters, and other rights holders whose songs were legitimately streamed. I can't stand when they grandstand about how songwriters and rights holders deserve this and that when they're not giving it to us any damn way. But check this out. He generated over $10 million. So this speaks to all the people who say you can't make money off streaming. You can. You make millions of dollars off of streaming as long as you know how to defraud the system. But my question is always going to be, why not stop after a few million? I've never understood that. Why take it to 10? Because I feel like he could have gotten away with 4 million.
I mean, it's the classic case. I think a lot of people, even with people that like defraud companies, and probably even Chad Focus, I don't remember the details of his case. It's kind of like, you get greedy and you start to think that you can continue to get away with it, and you're like, man, I'm gonna keep running this play.
I think Chad Focus was different. I think that was a company-wide shakedown, and I think they used him as a what would the word be? He was the fall guy.
Yeah, for sure. But I agree with Dame. It's like, even so with Chad, not to speak specifics because we don't know if the total amount that he was implicated for was actually his total. But it's like, I'm with you. It's like, take 1 or 2 million. If it works, diversify your portfolio. Go scam another way, or take the money and invest it legitimately. Like, most of the scamming people that I know that are successful now took their cheap money and put it into something legitimate. You know what I'm saying? Like, Dame, you've interviewed him on the Independent Living podcast, but Guap, he was a notorious scammer. Like, that's what he was known for. He didn't really start talking about the fact that he was scamming until after he was getting out of it, and that's what he built his platform on. But Guap was making real money, put it into parties, then took his party money and started putting it into rap, and that's what got him out of scamming. But he was scamming for real. And I know even drug dealers, that's a lot of them, wash their money to be a rapper, but the smart ones aren't even looking at being a rapper. They're buying real estate. They're, you know what I'm saying? And I've experienced, not me personally, but I'm saying I've experienced smart people. So I don't know. I'm not saying he's not smart, but I'm like, damn, like, at least do it from another account, make the paper trail diverse. I don't know, but I agree. I think people get away with murder and then they think they can keep doing it. That's what creates the sociopathic tendencies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're just like, oh, and then your reward, and then you love the thrill. I think some people get a thrill from being that close to the danger, and the more that they, you know what I'm saying? So who knows?
Well, I guess allegedly he had 2 co-conspirators.
That often fucks things up too, because I can't give any details, so this is going to be very vague, but a very big entertainment company, I just learned that few people got busted for kind of like a kickback scam that involved a couple of people, and you just get messier. I guess you just get messier as it goes, thinking that you're untouchable. And the ship's not as tight, especially if it involves more than one person. Now you're reliant on this person staying tight, not cracking, and kind of sticking to the plan. But this happened at a very large entertainment company, and there's currently an investigation going on. So I don't know anything about that. That's not something I've ever participated in, but I can see, just hearing about different scams and things that go on at companies, it typically sounds like, people just dip too much in the cookie jar and they got both hands in the cookie jar.
I mean, especially with streaming though, because none of it seems real. And I don't mean this literally, but everybody is faking streams. But
it actually is stealing, given how Spotify pays out, right? Because given their pro rata method of how they pay out streams, like all of the streams are like put in a pot, and then, that's it. And all the subscription revenue, all the revenue is put in a pot, and then it's kind of divvied up by market share. So, it actually is stealing from artists that should have gotten that money legitly.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could talk about the morality of that, because when major labels do it, they're stealing too, and they're already at an advantage because they're at the top of the royalty hierarchy. They're the ones that get paid out ultimately more than any of the rest of us.
Yes.
So it kind of is one of those things where you can look at it, you can justify it a number of ways. It's a Robin Hood theory in application. It's a victimless crime where we're just getting back what's meant for the artist. No one's going to get it. Everyone does it. It's like jaywalking. You're not going to get caught for it probably, or like sharing a Netflix account. But if you do it 1 billion times, which is what Mike Smith did, now you're on their radar. So the article explains how he did it, which is kind of crazy.
Well, it's definitely not the Robin Hood theory because he's not like he gave that money to anybody else.
That's what I was about to say. It's not
well, no, and more on that.
The poor artist.
more on that because there's a plot twist for me at least. So Smith created thousands of accounts on the streaming platform that he could use to stream songs. He then used software to cause the bot accounts to continuously stream stuff. So he created a streaming farm. Blah blah blah. He used them to generate approximately 661,440 streams per day, yielding annual royalties of over $1 million.
So he ran this for 10 years?
Yeah, that part isn't clear. I there's no way he's been doing this for 10 years. To obtain the necessary number of songs for his scheme to succeed. Oh, maybe he has been doing it for that long because it says he eventually turned to artificial intelligence in or about. Whoa. Okay. I didn't realize this part. In or about 2018, which is a while ago, Smith began working with the chief executive officer of an AI music company, CC-3, as a music promoter, CC-4, this must be a legal reference, to create hundreds of thousands of songs using artificial intelligence that Smith could then fraudulently stream. CC-3 soon began providing Smith with thousands of songs. Oh, these are anonymous co-conspirators. I get what that means. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, and in a 2019 email, holy shit, this was a while ago, Smith, his co-conspirator, wrote to Smith, keep in mind what you're doing musically here. It's not the music, it's instant music. And there was another. So anyway, Smith then created randomly generated song and artist names for audio files so that they would appear to have been created by real artists rather than artificial intelligence. For example, an alphabetically consecutive selection of 25 of the names of the AI songs Smith used is as followed. These are basically every word that starts with a Z, and they're all scientific, like zymotechnical and zymoplastic zygotes.
So ultimately, he used AI to create hundreds of thousands of songs. He uploaded the songs. I saw that on Ryan Schmidt's post on Instagram. He basically said that he also created like 10,000 like family plan accounts to then run those to put those bots on those accounts.
So was he paying? Was he paying for those plans?
Yeah, you have to pay when you make a stream farm. You got to pay for those accounts.
Oh my gosh!
So is that fraud? It seems
like he's a genius. That's what I'm saying. He's paying Spotify, but he seems like so intelligent, and I feel like that's what a lot of people who defraud systems are, just like frustrated and intelligent. It's like they don't have a job that's paying them worth their intelligence or an opportunity, or they're always blocked or pushed out from things. I honestly, personally, if it wasn't a moral thing for me, I would have been scamming. What? It's so easy. I promise y'all, I gotta be real. It's so easy to spot, like, now, on the technical side, I'm not saying that. I'm not super technical, but there's so many ways to make money in this world, especially if you know people and systems. So for me, with you reading 2018, I'm like, bro was ahead of this. None of us were thinking about AI music in 2018. At least I wasn't. Do you know what I'm saying? So for
I wasn't either.
Have this type of thought process, and I feel like stream farms didn't even get super popular. We didn't even really know what was going on with those until about 2018, 2019. So the fact that he was building one out and then was like, I still need to generate music faster. Let me go like the AI route. I would love to talk to bro and see what his mind is. Like what type of mind he has. Cause it seems like he's just super intelligent.
Oh, I got some info on that. So here's the plot twist. I get an email from a random rapper that I've never interacted with saying, hey, I got beats from you years ago and I want to make sure that they were legally purchased. And I was like, okay. He said, in light of everything going on with Mike Smith and his arrest and the crimes he's been committed. I hope you understand why I'm emailing you. I'm like, what does Mike Smith have to do with me? So, Mike Smith, when he was 23 years old, he built his fortune, according to Wikipedia, with an IT business. He then built, bought, and sold 3 regional chains of medical practices. So it sounds like they've made a bunch of money, or he made a bunch of money for his family. But Mike is a record producer. He's produced for Snoop Dogg, Billy Ray Cyrus, all types of big people. And he, in 2013, co-founded a label called SMH Records. And they had Caroline Distribution, division of Capitol Music Group. They had a huge Nigerian heiress who infused some money into it. And they had a show. They released singles with artists ranging from Crooked Eye to Dizzy Wright. He formed a group called Pink Grenade, which I'm quite sure my friend Ted Park was a part of. And he's right now getting his hair cut. Otherwise, I would ask him. But BET's one-shot hip-hop show, which I had tons of music on. All those rappers that were recording beats, they were using my beats. So I was like, oh, shit, that's him? I had no idea. When we say the music business is small, the music business is small. So this is having a ripple effect because I'm slow and I didn't put 2 and 2 together. So I brought it up to Teddy. He was like, yeah, I was wondering who I could talk to about this. I'm like, yeah, me, bro. We're on the same shit. So it wasn't just him. It was a lot of people in the business that, you know, because I didn't link. I'm not going to throw a bunch of people's names in the mix, but you can just look up the Wikipedia and see all the people that he's worked with and that I probably have worked with, or I definitely have worked with. A lot of people. So that's pretty wild that happened. But then again, it speaks to your question, Aaron. You know, is he a genius? Well, probably. If in the 90s he was a tech giant. But then my question is, you look at his resume and it's just a series of financial win after financial win after financial win. So why do this? This seems like such a high risk. I don't.
It's not about the money at this point. I actually do know a couple of rich kids like this. They were rich when they were young, or they inherited money, or they come from a rich family. They're just bored. And when you're really smart and bored, again, you just want to touch the fire. So it's almost like a game of cat and mouse, because it's like, what are you going to do to get your thrills? Especially if they said 23, he sold 2 tech companies. Dude has probably traveled all over the world. He's probably base dived. He's probably done all the wild shit in his 20s. So now he's in his 30s. Again, genius level, it seems. A tech company, a medical company, you've produced for some of the biggest artists in the world, and now you're just getting into AI and shit. He's probably just experimenting because it's fun. You know what I'm saying? And then he's probably thinking, again, he's invincible at this point, because when you build and sell $2 million medical company or tech companies in your 20s, yeah, I think he's just probably not even bored. It's like the thrill of fucking things up. And I know a lot of people like that. Some people are broke and have the thrill of fucking things up. I have a cousin like that. God bless him. And that man goes to jail. Like, you know, just like petty stuff. So it's like he'll be in and out of jail for 3 to 6 months, but he just loves fucking stuff up because he's super smart. But this dude seems like he's on that same type of time. He just has a bunch of money and he's like on another level of genius and probably has access to things that most people don't.
I wonder if it'll come out in the trial of like, hey, you know, maybe he admits to doing this, but, you know, because he knows about bots and streaming farms and things like that, he says, hey, well, all of these other players are doing this too. You know, how come they're not sitting right next to me? You know, where's Warner Music? Where's Atlantic? Where's, you know, these bigger entities that get away with this every single day? It'd be interesting to see what kind of conversations that starts if that comes out of the trial. But homeboy's probably going to sit down for a little while.
I think that should be a part of his PR strategy. So at least he's putting some pressure from the court of public opinion. But sorry, Aaron, what were you going to say?
Dude probably has great lawyers, so they may already be leaning in that direction. I was going to ask you, when the person asked about the legal, like the right to have the music, was that because they were assuming that potentially you were making AI music, or like tell me the link to that question.
I guess it's just that he figured, all right, Mike Smith is now being accused of crimes. Could he have come upon these beats illegally and then just said that I had made them? Or did he take them from me? And already I was like, I don't know Mike Smith. Who? And he sent me all these links to different articles that I just at the time didn't read because it was probably like midnight when I saw that text or that email. Also, Mike Smith has 6 kids, so kids are expensive. Maybe that's part of it. It's according to Wikipedia. The Justice.gov article concludes Smith, 52, of Cornelius, North Carolina, that's a hell of a name that's a very southern city. Cornelius, North Carolina, is charged with wire fraud conspiracy, which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison, wire fraud, which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison, and money laundering conspiracy, which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. I'd like to know how it became money laundering because that part isn't clear. The maximum potential sentences are prescribed by Congress and provided here for informational purposes only. Blah, blah, blah. The charges contained in the indictment are merely accusations, and the defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty.